sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover's here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to reaver.1/shop. Pick yourself up a kick-ass t-shirt. So, the last debate was last night. The last debate. It was it was fun to watch. That one, that was really entertaining to me. Okay, I'm sick. It was interesting, to say the least. If you didn't watch it, you missed. And it was actually pretty good. Pretty good. And we're going to get more into it as the show goes on. One of the things, I'm trying to pull it up. I read something right before coming on air, and I want to get more information. I believe YouTube has taken down the Project Veritas. We woke up to find out that YouTube banned the recent video. The latest YouTube video. And welcome, Beezy. Welcome to the show.
Well, good morning, Jersey Joe, and how are you doing, sir?
Good. I wasn't sure if you got me in the chat room last night that I said, yeah, I wanted you to call in. When don't I want you to call in?
Well, thank you. So it's, let's see, it's not quite noon for you there, so it's a couple of minutes after 11 then, right?
Yep.
Okie doke, got it. So it is still, in fact, morning. For me, it's still relatively new. I would have called just a few minutes earlier, except the dogs kept barking, and there's nothing like barking dogs in the background to...
Yep. Oh, I got a Yorkie Poo and a German Shepherd.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I love both of them. I'm not a small dog type person. I've always was around big dogs, namely German Shepherds. But my wife fell in love with the Yorkie Poos, and we went and got one, and the little guy just is so cool. He's not like your normal little dogs, the yipping, biting ones. He just wants to lay on your lap, get petted, and that's it. So.
Well, we've got 3, and they're all rescues. which is kind of odd because two of the ones that we have, two of the rescues, aren't even from this area at all. They're from the coast of California, from Mendocino County, which is, if I take vacations, we usually like to go up to the coast. And the two dogs that we got on two entirely separate occasions from the Mendocino County rescue animal shelter have turned out to be just absolutely fabulous dogs. Very nice dogs. And I couldn't for the life of me begin to tell you what in the hell they are. One is sort of a, oh gosh, it's a black sort of odd Heinz 57 looking kind of unit, which I think, I hate to say it, but it almost looks a little bit like the Obama's dog. And the other one is sort of an overgrown kind of semi-Jack Russell looking unit. Mix / Heinz 57 variety / who knows what the hell is in there kind of thing. But they're actually both very, very nice dogs. For whatever reason, whoever had the one dog before us taught it to stand on its hind legs and walk around. So when he wants a treat, he'll get on his hind legs and walk around until you give him a treat. I could never teach a dog to do that, Frenny. Anyway, he came fully equipped with his one trick as well. So he's been a great dog, I have to say.
It's amazing how dogs just can change your outlook on everything. They're little shits. I love them.
The weird thing is, I was always had cats, because that's sort of what the family always had. And then when I met my wife, she's a dog individual, and we've gone through a few dogs now. And dogs are great. They're just like people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, each one of them is entirely different. So, all right, I'm a dog person now.
Well, when me and my wife first got together, we got two cats because we were in an apartment. It's easier to take care. I think it's easier to take care of cats when you're on a second floor apartment.
Oh yeah.
We had the one. We had a Mancoon cat, pure black, green eyes. And I don't know if you've seen the Mancoon cats. I mean, you want to talk about a fluffy? He used his tail as a duster.
Man, if I could ever have a cat, a Maine Coon cat would be one of the ones that I'd love to have back, because if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones, they look like you threw them into a dryer with a bounce sheet, a few bounce sheets, and you just took it out, and they're just like,
yep,
yeah,
like they stuck their finger in a light socket.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, they're also pretty damn big, aren't they?
Oh yeah, mine, he had gotten up to, I think, about 15, 20 pounds at one point. He was a big cat. We just lost him, actually, a couple years ago. He was like, almost 15 years old when he passed away. It was a couple days after Christmas. His favorite spot was to go underneath the Christmas tree, knock over my train sets and the little houses I put up. He'd knock them over and lay down. And he wouldn't break or climb in the tree. He'd just go underneath and lay down. And it was a couple days after Christmas, a year or two ago. I saw him laying there, and I kind of bumped his tail to tell him to get up. And he didn't move. It was like, oh, crap. And it was like, happened to tell my daughter that. And it was just like, but that's part of owning animals. But yeah, we started with cats. And now my wife wants the dogs because she doesn't want to clean the cat litter because I don't do. No. I'd wind up throwing up.
Well, they're a lot easier when, if you're in an apartment, like you say, for example, you just throw food at them and water and clean the cat box. And you can set them on ignore mode if you want to.
Yeah.
Because, the thing about cats is they really don't have owners, but they have staff.
Yeah, exactly.
And you become staff.
They become the master, and you become the pet, and you do what they want.
That's pretty much it.
I'm trying to think. I'm not going to be able to remember the cartoon now. Sugar. I'll remember it later. Well, actually, one of the things I was talking as you were calling in, I don't know if you heard, but, and I always mess up their name, so I'm going to apologize in advance. Project Veritas, the ones that put out those undercover videos.
Oh, right, yes. No, you got the name right. Exactly right. James O'Keefe.
They, YouTube banned their videos overnight.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Of course. We all right. We should know that. We should know by now.
That's why when I was putting them up on my site, I didn't do the links. I downloaded those files, the videos, and uploaded the videos onto my site because I said I just had a funny feeling YouTube was going to bow to pressure of the Clinton Foundation and ban those videos. So I didn't want the broken link and all that, so I just downloaded it and uploaded to my site.
You know, the funny thing is my wife knows how to do that. She's sort of the techno person in the family of all things. I'm your basic techno moron, so to speak. And it's funny you should have said that because back in my brain housing group, there was something, my little spidey sense went off, and I thought, I wonder if there's some way for me to actually
It's actually quite
this
easy.
video.
It's real easy. There's a website you go to. All you do is copy and paste the web address into the site. You click, you want an MP4 start. It'll go through its process, and then you click download, and it downloads it right onto your computer for you.
And now it makes it a video or sound only.
Video. Well, you could pick if you want it to be an MP3. You could pick MP3. The video format, the top one right now that I know of is MP4. So I always pick the MP4, and that's the one I download.
Son of a biscuit eater! I wish I'd done that and then kept it. You're absolutely right. There was something kind of tingling in my brain pan, thinking, I wonder if there's a way to do this because it would be just like YouTube to eliminate it, and there you go. Saying it's gone.
Well, what
It's
we could
eliminated.
also do is, because I got the files still, I got them on my computer, I can upload them to my Rush file account, which is a cloud, and then I can email you access to those two files, and you can download it that way. It's literally, it'll send you a link, you click the link, it'll show you like a file, you click the file, and it'll download it to your computer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're getting very...
All right.
I went to school back in the mid-'90s for networking, and I never really... hardware, I love doing. Software, I hate doing. I don't like doing software. I don't understand coding and remembering all the different commands and all that. MS-DOS, no, I can't do it. But when it comes to what they're doing nowadays, it's just so... They're making it easy as anything. And it's... I sometimes I'll sit here and Google, which I really don't like using Google, but they do make it so easy anymore. I Google some of the dumbest thing, how to download. I'll come up with a dumb thing, and how do I download this link onto my computer? And lo and behold, other people have asked the exact same question. So, but yeah, sorry for rambling.
I'll tell you what, while we were speaking, good news. Maybe something happened in the interim, but I went to YouTube itself, and I entered the phrase Project Veritas, and I'm looking at the Part 1 video right now, and it seems to be playing. So let me go back and see if they're allowing video 2.
Maybe they threw it back up. Everybody knows they've had Hillary Clinton has a lot of corporate connections and can make the things disappear like that. But if the people start pressuring, it can...
Well, something must have happened because I just played video 1. Now I'm looking at video 2. So,
all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to Jersey Joe or anybody else, live or on podcast, if you have the ability and you have not yet seen these videos, you absolutely must go quick like a bunny over to YouTube and watch them. And if you have the ability to be smart enough like Jersey Joe and unlike me, capture the video. But first and foremost, you You absolutely must watch these videos.
They are. The first one made me sick and angry that we always talk about it, that they do voter intimidation. It's another thing to actually have them admit it and be so nonchalant, almost bragging about it. And when that second video dropped, I sat here, my mouth open. I didn't have words. When I talked about it yesterday on air, I had no words to describe how sick. I still can't. It is absolutely appalling. Them admitting 50 years we've been busting people in. This is how we've gone around the elections. The Democrat Party is admitting that they are subverting the American vote.
Well, subverting it and then doing the exact same thing that Hillary Clinton and everyone else does. Certainly, if there's one thing that you have to admit to the Democrats, historically, they're the party of cheating.
Yeah.
Now, people would say that the Republicans are that, and the reply that I have to everyone and anyone who's saying that is, really, I have a project for you. Go to YouTube, go to Google or any search engine, and download all the videos and sound that you can of Republicans cheating in elections or any amount of voter fraud. Go and find it and then come back and tell me, oh, what? You're telling me it doesn't exist? Well, the reason it doesn't exist, and that's a provable aspect of it all, is that if it did, you'd go to Anderson Cooper, you'd go to CNN, you'd go to any of the other leftist organizations and shows, and they would be trotting out that video daily, hour after hour after hour, and you'd never hear the end of it. So if you haven't heard it on any of the American media maggot stations or cable series, it's because it's probably not there. You want it to be there. Hillary Clinton says it exists, but that's odd. The only cheating that I can discover on video or any evidence of cheating is only on one side, the Democrats.
Yeah.
All I say to the people that don't like that particular fact is, prove me wrong.
That's the problem. They can't prove you wrong. And I get into it with my father-in-law because he's a diehard liberal. And it's his. I never try to change him. That's the funny thing is I never try to change him. It's his right to back whoever he wants. It's not my place to tell him who to vote for. But I also get in return a lot of times is, well, I didn't hear it on the news. It didn't happen type deal. And it's always stop going to Fox News. And he's always blaming those things. And it's like, they think just because it's not reported on CNN, MSNBC, it doesn't happen. They think just because Fox News broadcast it, it's conspiracy theory because it goes in direct conflict of their backing. And I'm so tired of that because, number one, every now and then during the show, I'll throw Fox on, so if there's any breaking news, I can report it. There has been incidents, national tragedies, so forth, international, that have happened during the show I didn't know about. That's the only reason why I have it on. I don't watch Fox anymore. I haven't for a very long time. Just for the simple fact, while I'm doing my show, I don't need the influence of one station over another. I know both MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they say they're news stations, but they still have to get ratings for their sponsors and their commercials. So they're going to do what they have to do to get the numbers. Both, all three of them. And I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. They have a financial obligation to their stockholders altogether. So they have to do sometimes maybe articles that they may not want to do, but they have to do to get the ratings, to get the people to watch. And all the stations do it. But it's this mentality of, well, it wasn't on CNN or MSNBC, so it never happened. And that's what happens with the voter fraud, because it's not reported on those channels. they don't believe it ever happened. And talked about it slightly on Sackheads is the Democrats deny everything, and everybody goes, oh, okay. But the Republicans, you have to show 20 different proofs of facts and have a signed affidavit from every American before they'll take it as information. Did that make sense?
The sad thing about that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said, did that make sense what I just said there? How they the Democrats deny everything and it's done with. The Republicans, they have to constantly prove everything over and over again. It's a double standard.
Well, it is. It is in fact double standard, and the entire thing, the entire paradigm changed when CNN essentially went online, because then the new standard was something's got to be on the air 24/7. And when you're tasked with filling air 24/7, it's not like the screen goes to they play the Robert Scott poem, and then your TV ends at the end of the day like it used to in the 60s. Now with News 24/7, you need filler, and you just need to shove something in there. And so all the news stations are challenged to fill something with 24/7. And that's how you get that kind of stuff. This Project Veritas, I would like to make reference to for just a moment. For people who are not aware of it, it's ProjectVeritasAction.com. And if you go there, you'll see James O'Keefe. And if he's not a household name for the people that are listening right now, like you are, people need to remember. Do you folks remember the little name of Acorn, for example? And you might hearken back to the fact that you really haven't heard much about Acorn anymore, which was a community-based group that was backing every leftist imaginable, including one Barack Hussein Obama. And they were allegedly a local community grassroots kind of campaign for any sort of leftist cause. There's an excellent reason, ladies and gentlemen, why you don't hear about Acorn anymore. The reason is because of James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. He was the one, if you harken back to that, who went into various Acorn offices and discovered and placed onto video all the dirty deeds that the Democrats and leftists and progressives are doing. And it's because of his investigation that essentially Acorn vanished and went by the wayside. It was a one-man project, and the incredible impact of his videos was such that they're no longer around anymore. The people, of course, they are, but under the banner of Acorn.
Yeah, ended in 2009.
Yeah, they were absolutely decimated. Well, this is the same individual, James O'Keefe, through ProjectVeritasAction.com, who's done the exact same thing. And one of the persons, I have to admit, it's the Schadenfreude in me. One of the persons, there were 4, I think now, that have either stepped down or resigned or forced to resign. One of them was a man named Scott Fovell, who was the deputy political director for People at the American Way, and they're talking about voter fraud. And one of his quotes in the video was, they could invalidate, well, okay, let's just say in theory, if a major investigation came up of major vote fraud that way, how would they prove it? And who could they charge? And there he is on video posting the very question on the video that ended up in his removal. Oh, darn, Scott Fovell no longer is the deputy political director for People at the American Way. Thank you, James O'Keefe. Appreciate that.
Well, you also hear a lot of, well, where's the Republican files? Oh, they're targeting Democrats. They're targeting Democrats. No, they're not. I mean, I remember some of the first work they did is they went after Bush over the Middle East conflict, and they were dumping file after file on President Bush. And I didn't hear one single Democrat complaining about those files being hacked. I didn't hear one single Democrat saying that those files weren't authentic. They used him against Bush. They used him against the Republicans. And that's, who was it? Marco Rubio yesterday coming out telling Republicans not to use it, not to use those files. Don't let a foreign entity interfere in our elections. Well,
yes, that's ridiculous thinking. That's number one. I was very disappointed to hear Marco Rubio say that, but it's incredibly flawed thinking. And the flawed thinking is this: he said, "Oh my gosh, if they get used, if we're using this kind of thing against poor little Democrats, oh, they might use that against us. Oh no! So if it's fodder for us, if we're cheating, oh my goodness, they could use that against us." Marco Rubio, are you sufficiently daft, man, to think that if a video like this wasn't already extant in the world, what do you think is keeping anyone from using that against you already? Do you think if they had that video, the Democrats and leftists and progressives would all of a sudden, a light bulb would illuminate above their heads, and they'd say, "Oh, poor Republicans, oh, they're right, we must be fair. We can't use this video." Right, they'll treat us the same way that they're getting treated. Because, quite frankly, Democrats and leftists and progressives are, in fact, the most fair people that I can think of. How about you, sir?
I don't even know how. I can't even think of a real smart-ass answer because it's just mind-numbing how blatantly they would never stick up for Marco Rubio the way he just stuck up for him. And the really bad part is it has been said by WikiLeaks that they have Republican files. There's nothing in them. They have Trump files. There's nothing different than what he says in public. What he says in public is what's being emailed around. The Republicans, what they say is what's being emailed around. They said we have their files now, but there's nothing to report.
Well, the base foundational bottom line thinking on that is what I call facts and evidence. If it existed, if it does exist, it would be trotted across the screens of American TV 24/7, and all the talking heads would be blathering about it 24/7 on each one of the hour-long shows. If I'm not seeing it, I can make only one conclusion: it's not there. Because if it existed, we'd be watching it right now, and we'd be watching it 24/7 for days on end.
It's just nothing but deflection, and they allow it. Megyn Kelly, who I think is her journalistic integrity has gone out the window, but she went after Donna Brazile, I think it was last night, and kept going after her about her emails, and all Donna wanted to talk about, well, they're stolen files. They're stolen files. You had Hillary Clinton last night during the debate get accused of several things, but she never once denied the emails or what they said, but deflected that, oh, we don't want foreign entities. We don't know who actually got those, because I've also been hearing from paying attention to social media and all that, it may have been someone had went in there as a worker for the Democrat Party, was working for them, and either A, saw what was going on and wanted to be a whistleblower and downloaded all those files, or was sent in there with the misconception of being a worker and downloaded those files. The Democrats love to take their people at face value. Russia said they didn't hack it. WikiLeaks said they didn't hack it, or that the Russians didn't hack it. Everybody's saying the Russians didn't hack it. The only one that's doing it is you got Hillary Clinton up there acting like Jan Brady, going, Russia, Russia, Russia. And I love Trump nailed her last night and said, because they outsmarted you and you're pissed about it. That was one of the great lines.
I knew, sir, that there was a reason that I love you. And one of those reasons is this. You just opened up the door for my current post at woviatingzeppelin.net. You open that door, and at this point, I'm sure you expect me to do nothing else except walk through that open door.
Exactly.
And that's this.
Well, the best thing is I didn't even know you had that article up.
The interesting thing is my current post says, who hacked the DNC and Podesta emails, and why? Was it really the Russians? Well, you're right yesterday. Last night, all Hillary Clinton did is say that it's the Russians, it's the Russians. Well, let's examine that. Are you familiar with the gentleman by the name of Judge Andrew Napolitano?
Yes.
Judge Andrew Napolitano did a video that I haven't seen anywhere. I saw a bit of it on Twitter, and for whatever reason, it's not trending. I'm not sure I know exactly why. In other words, I haven't seen it repeated quite a bit on the right side of the aisle. But I happened to look at that, snagged it, and put it on my site. And essentially what Judge Napolitano is saying is, let's examine a bit about Russia itself, and the various emails. What he's been told by a particular person who is an NSA whistleblower is that the NSA hacked the emails and was responsible in one level for revealing those emails. And upon anyone hearing that, I'm sure your first guess is, what the hell? Well, it's not just backed up by Judge Napolitano on a video. If you ever look at a website called zerohedge.com, it has a lot of insightful information on there. And one of the most recent articles is this: NSA whistleblower, not so fast on claims Russia behind the Hillary Clinton email hack. And if you go to Zero Hedge, I'm sorry, I shouldn't promote Zero Hedge. I should promote my site like I attempt to promote Reaver1.com, which is the site for Jersey Joe. If you look at the particular article on Zero Hedge, if you look at the one that I've got there, there's information all through there by the basically the highest NSA whistleblower in history, a man by the name of William Minnie. He's the NSA guy who created the agency's mass surveillance program for digital information. He served as the senior technical director with the entire NSA. He managed 6,000 NSA employees. He's a 36-year NSA veteran who many inside regard as a legend within the agency, and he's considered one of the best ever analysts and code breakers. His accomplishments are legion. He mapped out the Soviet command and control structure before anybody else knew how to do that, and got to the point that he could predict Soviet invasions before they ever happened in the 1970s, for example. He decrypted the Russia's, well, at the time it was called the Soviet Union, the USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, their command system, which provided the U.S. and all of our allies with real-time surveillance of all Soviet troop movements and the movements of atomic weapons. And basically what he says is Edward Snowden says the NSA could easily determine who hacked Hillary Clinton's emails. Well, I suss out that you and I probably would already agree that. But the mainstream media simultaneously says, oh, they couldn't do that. Hillary Clinton, leftist Democrats, are trumpeting and heralding the theme that Russia is behind the hack because it wants to help Trump get elected. Well, think about it. Let's actually put on, ladies and gentlemen, our thinking caps for just a moment. Because if you go back and you ask yourself, cui bono, that's Latin for who benefits. Okay, well, let's think about that. Let's examine that for a moment. Why would Russia not want Hillary Clinton in the White House, because history, you have to go on history, and history would tend to indicate that she would continue the overall leadership, I use that in air quotes, begun by Barack Hussein Obama, which is to say little leadership. So he loves the phrase, you have to lead from behind, which is a stupid oxymoron by itself, and it is, in fact, an oxymoron.
I won the race from last place.
Yeah, that's Russia, under the guidance of Putin, realizes that Obama and by extension, the logical extension, as I say, Hillary Clinton, they've been amenable all along to working with Russia. Harken back and remember, if you will, ladies and gentlemen, the Russian reset. Well, I wonder in whose favor that reset occurred. Well, let's go back now a little bit further.
Let me jump in on that real quick, because I actually tweeted that out last night. She gave Russia a reset button, and we reset back to the Cold War is what it did. It gave Russia a lot of power back that they didn't have, or they lost after all these years. All right.
Yes, precisely. Does anyone who's a clear-thinking individual, got you there, leftists, if there's anybody who's a clear-thinking individual and doesn't doubt that Vladimir Putin wants to go back to the time of the USSR,
Mr. KGB,
the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, he wants Russian power back again, emanating and broadcasting live and direct from the Kremlin in downtown Moscow. And you hit it exactly on the head. He wants to go back to the glory days of Mother Russia, when the Soviet Union controlled all of these other now Balkanized countries. When, let's see, who's responsible for that? Oh, Ronald Wilson Reagan in 1989 and 1990 with the fall of the Berlin Wall. And subsequently from there, due to Mr. Gorbachev, then the Soviet Union essentially fell. So, let's see. How did the Soviet Union fall? Literally, what happened is we outspent them, and they couldn't keep up. Their spending for defense was absolutely astronomical, incredible. We outspent them and out-defensed them, so to speak. We're responsible for the downfall of the Soviet Union, and wish that in concomitant with that was the loss of the Soviet satellite republics, and when they lost that, they lost power. And they also lost face. And the nation faced chaos. That's one of the reasons that the various facets of the Russian mafia began to take over. Because then, basically, money ruled, and all the people that formerly had dakhas all throughout the Soviet Union no longer had that power. Do not doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that Vladimir Putin wants to relive those glory days under his guidance, his loving, kind guidance. And he's in the process of acquiring it once again. So you're precisely right. Let's go back and remember in 2012 the little situation with Barack Hussein Obama, while he was wearing a hot mic, slipped over delicately to President Dmitry Medvedev and said, well, after my election, I'll have more flexibility.
Yep.
Knowing full well that he was going to get reelected, and if there's anyone that's involved or interested in a Russian reset, as he listens and bends over to speak sotto voce over to Mr. Medvedev, who is nothing but the puppet himself, and even in 2012, Putin ruled Medvedev. He was a president. He was a Pinot, a president in name only. So Barack Hussein Obama, even then, was attempting to work with Russia. So don't tell me that it's an evil thing when people say they want to work with Russia. But again, let's continue to do what I call the logical extension. So you have to ask yourself, of the two potential candidates that we have here, let's see, Russia would work with, by way of Putin, with Hillary Rodham Clinton, which would essentially be a third term of Barack Hussein Obama, or he could help install, essentially, his nemesis. Would Putin, this is the core key question, would Putin truly want a loose cannon like Donald Trump in the White House?
No.
If you remember again, go back to Reagan, and who characterized him in 79 and 80 as a loose cannon? That would be Jimmy Carter and his campaign, because they were afraid that this loose cannon, Ronald Reagan, with his crazy palsied finger on the nuke pile, would tend to push the button. And the Russians actually feared him and were thinking, well, maybe we should keep in line, because that crazy, ancient, doddering, febrile bastard might just push the damn button. Perhaps we ought to be a bit more careful in terms of what we're doing. You have to think, ladies and gentlemen. You have to think. So when Judge Napolitano stands in front of me, already thinking like this and positing to myself various questions, and if I see him saying or indicating, let's examine this a little bit more thoroughly, who benefits from this, then I tend to listen to it. And here's the sad point throughout all of this, Joe. It's extremely sad. Why you have to ask yourself, okay, why would the NSA consider doing something like this? And the sad thing is, you have a government hacking itself in order, essentially, what Judge Napolitano is saying, in order to keep national security. There are people that are saying that the NSA felt they had no other opportunity, no other venue to conduct itself other than to do that, because they're fully cognizant of the fact that Hillary Rodham Clinton can't keep a damn secret. She's careless and disregards national security. That has already been proven. It's her style. It's her history. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Because of those various revelations out in the field with various operatives and agents, Americans were killed. That's the other dirty little secret, the other dirty little lie that the United States government won't deign to tell people. We've lost Americans because of her carelessness and her disregard for national security. So it's insane. The government is hacking itself in order to keep national security. When people do that, are you not in the process of losing your own government? An internal hack because you don't trust a presidential candidate not to keep your secrets or kill your people? Ladies and gentlemen, you have to open your eyes. You can't just continue to watch The Voice and think that everything is just wonderful, because it's not.
Well, I know it was discussed last night, and you gave an excellent argument last night, and you did it again today. I'm going to go with a simpler of, we used to have the media that would be our quote-unquote hackers and pull these documents. Well, we don't have that anymore. The media is not doing that anymore. So if we have these outside sources, I'm not going to call them foreign or anything like that, outside sources that are truth is truth, no matter which way you look at it. These emails are truth. Those videos are truth. And if that's what it takes to get the truth out, I'll take it. Because I would rather know the truth than continue to allow our politicians, Republican or Democrat, to hide. I don't accept that they're hiding from us. And that's what pissed me off about Marco Rubio's comments. He's basically saying he's got something to hide. Well, I'm not going to vote for somebody like that. And to your point of, yes, Putin does not want a Trump presidency because Trump is going to stand up to Putin. I want a leader that wants to have peace and not war. I'm not a tree hugger or anything like that, but I want peace overall. But I understand sometimes to get peace, you have to have war. And we have a candidate that's saying he wants to try a little respect amongst leaders to see if we can get where we need to go. And Hillary's trying to take us back to the Cold War, and which is funny. The Democrat Party, who's been against wars, is trying to push us into. And how many wars has Obama pushed us into? We've bombed more countries underneath Obama than we did Bush. I know that's a lot of information to throw out there. It boggles my mind how it's, and I keep harping on it today, the do as I say, not as I do type thing. They have that double standard. They're just, I'm worried that Obama's going to push us into war or on the verge of war. And even if Trump gets in, then it's going to be, look what the Republicans did. Because they're never going to blame Democrats for what happened. And even if, let's say, Hillary wins, she's going to push us into war. So she thinks that'll give her everything she wants because the Congress won't fight a president during wartime. It's scary. And no matter who gets elected, I think more so if Trump gets elected, we are going to have some ISIS attacks on American soil. I'm surprised we haven't had more as it is. And I'm not asking or promoting it, just it was a gut feeling that we would have a couple attacks as they try to change our direction of the election.
You yourself, Jersey Joe, are doing what I call the logical extension. You're a live, thinking human being who is prognosticating down the line. You're using sort of an if-then equation. Well, if all of these things are occurring, then what's it leading to? Because you have a brain and you can stand on your own 2 feet and think. Well, think, ladies and gentlemen. Always think and don't stop thinking. What did the Barack Obama administration and under Secretary of State Clinton, what did we do? We went into Libya and destabilized one of the few semi-stable nation states in the Middle East. Jordan is certainly an outstanding member. Jordan actually stands on its own 2 feet now and then. But who did we have in the guise of Muammar Gaddafi? I always wondered why he was a colonel. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, I guess for whatever reason, he never made himself a general. I never understood that. But here's an individual who the U.S. kicked into line. And of all the people and the dictators who were relatively quiet for decades because he got his arse handed to him by Ronald Wilson Reagan, when we went in with F-111s and bombed a few sites and happened to kill one of his nephews, and then who was one of the first in the regions to eschew a nuclear program? Oh, that's right. It was Muammar Gaddafi who realized that we could reach out, we, being the United States, could reach out and touch someone with that doddering piece of crap that we called the F-111, and even so, that particular fighter, which was a fighter about as much as I'm a fighter, even we kept, by way of the F-111, Muammar Gaddafi in line. He gave up his nuclear program and aspirations of a nuclear program because he realized that we could reach out and go bing on the top of his little noodle whenever we wanted to. So of all the people that we could have and did destabilize in the Middle East, for whatever reason, these two morons in D.C. decided that they're going to further not just destabilize, but let's kill Muammar Gaddafi. For God's sake, he got rid of his own nuclear programs. We can't have him conducting himself semi-logically in the Middle East. What the hell are you thinking in D.C.? Mother of God. None of this is unforeseeable. There are 3 words that we embrace. in the United States. It's this: the rule of law. When a government decides on its own that it's not going to obey the rule of law, it should not be eminently unforeseeable that there's going to be an internal reaction from within and from without when the government, the United States government, decides eminently in imperial fashion what laws that itself is going to obey and which laws it's going to kick to the curb. Under leftists, for example, they've decided that they don't really want to support any sort of immigration rules and regulations. Open borders are the day. And the various chiefs in the ICE and Homeland Security under Jay Johnson, that piece of crap, have been given their marching orders, and that's, well, you know, if the border's porous, let's just let it go. Now more than ever, more people are crossing that border than in quite some time. The economy tended to stabilize that out. When our economy went bad, not so many people were crossing because they found that they could have almost as many jobs in Mexico. But now, because Obama has said, oh, come in, one and all. Well, you know what I've always said? It's the same thing that Trump is saying. If you don't like me taking advantage of the tax laws, change the laws. Tell me that I can't take advantage of these various tax laws, and I'll stop. What he did was legal. What he's continuing to do was legal.
That's what pissed me off.
Why won't they stop that? Because they all benefit. Cui bono. Who benefits?
Hillary Clinton took the same deductions that Trump did. She took the exact same deductions, but she's going to try to use it against him. It's that one just blows my mind.
But he's absolutely correct. Donald Trump is correct like the broken clock theory. And he's not my favorite candidate by any means, but the more you push back against Donald Trump, the more I tend to push back against people who are pushing back against Donald Trump. And in this case, he's eminently correct. You don't like the tax laws? Go ahead and change them. They're not going to be changed because they not just benefit him, they benefit all the other people, like Hillary Rodham Clinton, who benefit from the various tax laws. Well, let's again do the logical extension and take it further. For example, you don't like the tax laws? Change them. Oh, you don't like the laws about immigration? Change those too.
Yep.
Well, I don't see leftists changing the laws. Because if they were actually to start talking about, you know, we really do need to change the United States Code and all the various USC codes that fall under that in the 4-digit numbers, we need to rewrite all those laws. If they were to openly come out and say that, there would be chaos. So the rule of law is undermined. And when the government undermines it and says, and various other governments throughout the nation say, oh, sanctuary cities. We need to be a sanctuary city. And the U.S. government, who could easily cut off federal funding for these sanctuary cities, is saying, you know, under the line, so to speak, well, that's okay. You know what? We're not going to cut off your federal funding because, truly, we like you being a sanctuary city. We benefit from the vote. So that's not going to change either. So when you denigrate the rule of law, expect that other people are not going to respect the rule of law. So going back to the NSA, when you have the NSA beginning to undercut the government itself because it's afraid you're going to kill more people, more Americans, what does that say about your government and the actual state of affairs with regard to the rule of law?
Hey, I hate to cut in. We got to go to a break. It's going so good. I mean, I already skipped over the first break because this was going so good, but I have to do this next break. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, iTunes, YouTube, and Spreaker. We will be right back.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, at Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to reaver.1/shop. All right, Beezy, the floor is yours. Go right ahead, sir.
Before I get to the topic at hand, what I would like to say, and you asked me, and I didn't get back to you in sufficient amount of time, I went to Reaver.1 and purchased some of the survival bracelets that you're offering there. And I bought one for myself, and I bought one for my wife. We're currently wearing both of them right now. For once in my life, I actually made a correct measurement, and the bracelets came back, and they fit absolutely perfectly. So we because we're law enforcement oriented, we bought the bracelet that has the thin blue line through it. She chose the metal clasp, and I like the plastic clasp. So
I had it the other way around.
I measured things correctly, and I have to tell you the bracelets fit wonderfully, and we're extremely happy with them. So thank you, folks. If you want a bracelet, you got to go to his site and get one. And it's not just one. He has, I don't know, you've got probably 8, 9, 10 different bracelets that you're offering in there.
Yeah, there's more than that. There's, you can have options where you could pick one color, 2 colors, all the way up to 3 colors, and there's a host of different options there. I'm getting ready to put up the different knots, the different types of, weaves. And I'm also going to be putting up the dog collars. I just been a little lazy getting that up. But, yeah, I'm going to be putting up dog collars because they're perfect. I use, for both my German Shepherds, have these survival bracelets. Well, survival.
Well, that's way cool. Because if we didn't get that one, we were thinking about getting the one, like you say, that there are ones with 3 colors involved. And if we didn't get what we got, we both decided that we wanted to get the ones that are interwoven red, white, and blue. So that was our plan B. We got our plan A back, and we decided after getting them and seeing how nicely they fit, that we're probably going to go back and do the exact same thing, only we're going to go with the red, white, and blue bracelets. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for the survival bracelets, which are a very nice trend right now, and the practical, I have to say, go to Jersey Joe's site and peek around. And you got a lot more stuff there than just bracelets also.
Oh, yeah. I even have pocket Constitution / Declaration of Independence books. Right now, I only got 3 left, but it's a great thing to have on you at all times, so you know what your rights are.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, I just want to let you know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
They're great. They fit. And we both decided, all right, we like them. We're going to go back. We want the little red, white, and blue ones now.
Good.
And, of course, we have dogs, so if you offer the dog collars, yeah, we'll probably be back for some of those, too.
Yeah, I just got to figure out if I'm going to put the choker ones up. I haven't figured out how to make the adjustable dog collars yet. So my other thing is to do the clip ones, but just do it to the size of the neck. That one can get a little dicey. We love them, and we'll be back. Just want to let you know. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. There was one other thing you wanted to talk about.
Yes, you called into the Sackheads radio show last night. And I have to say, last night's show and the week before were some of the 2 best times that I've had at Sackheads Radio. And I really enjoyed the fact that they were speaking to people over the telephone, and you were one of the persons who called in. And you pointed out something that completely 100% escaped me. I thought I was paying attention to the debate last night, and apparently I was not quite paying as much attention as I would like to have thought. Because you pointed out one very important thing. During a particular segment, and Donald Trump was talking about the folks, our loving brethren in the Middle East, under the guise of Islam, throwing gays off the roofs of buildings. And folks, if you haven't seen that, there are all sorts of videos and photographs of the loving, peaceful, and tolerant Muslims throwing gay people in the Middle East off of roofs, only to glorious watch them splat below. As Donald Trump is talking about that, she starts laughing. What the hell?
Yeah, that was sickening. Beyond.
You said that, and I thought, come on. She does a lot of things. She's responsible for a lot of stupid stuff. She wouldn't do that. Oh, wait a minute. As a matter of fact, yes, she did. So thank you very much for saying that.
Yeah.
I would never have picked that up. And so after today's post, after the one that I posted earlier this morning, I just finished my next post, which is the actual video off the television of that exact same thing. If I hadn't seen it, I would never have believed it. And that's exactly what she does. So is there something clinically or physiologically wrong with her? It makes you wonder, what the hell is she doing about that? Does she actually think it's amusing or funny, like the Joe Pesci scene from Casino? Am I amusing? Do I amuse you?
Yeah. It's... I mean, it probably, and I'm not trying to defend her because there is no defense of that, but it's probably a defense mechanism that when something like something negative like that pops up, she starts that little, cackle of hers. Because every time there was something negative said last night, she grinned like the Joker from Batman. And I'm sitting there, trying to think, what's so amusing. It was like a madman. And the only thing I could think of is that big grin of Joker. And I'm thinking Jack Nicholson version of Batman, that huge smile. She was doing that nonstop. And every time Trump would do something negative, she would go into that smile. But when he talked about throwing the gays off the roof in the Middle East, and she just started laughing, I was like, what the hell's wrong with this woman? But she's trained.
That is absolute. It's insanity. It's absolutely incongruent with her thinking. So, I mean, we know that mentally speaking, in terms of her philosophies, she's damaged goods. But now that also makes you wonder, along with all these other things about her health, is she psychologically damaged? Do we need to break out our DSM-5s and clinically analyze her psychologically? Or is it something more physiological in nature? Is it something that, I think she has some serious problems.
I think she has some neurological, and I'm not trying because I don't back her. I've been saying for a couple of years now, I've been worried about Harry Reid. Yeah, I don't agree with the old man. I don't like a lot of his ideas, but I think that man is seriously suffering from Alzheimer's. He has now people standing behind him and helping him remember what he's supposed to say. He says things, he goes on these tangents, then a couple days later, it's not like the Democrat denial. He does not remember he said certain things because he'll go a whole 180 degrees and say something else. I think Hillary, if she was a patient of mine, I would be talking to a doctor that there might want to be a psychological consultation or a neurological consultation because she wasn't acting mentally correct in the ambulance. If she did that in the back of my ambulance, I would be pushing for some further testing, medical testing. It's no person in their right mind would sit there and laugh about anybody, whether gays or straight or men, women, being thrown off a roof. It's just not funny.
No, in the slightest. Which again goes back to my original theory that leftists, progressives, Democrats, etc., supporting Islam makes as much sense as my advocating for putting lighter fluid on babies and setting them on fire. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Leftists and Democrats would be the first to be eliminated under any sort of a Muslim scheme here or anywhere else in the United States. So the people that are supporting these ridiculous morons, these dangerous, barbaric individuals, they're the first persons that would be sacrificed. It's insanity.
And also now I just found Project Veritas. They put it up 21 hours ago. They have another video to go along that series, and it's Aaron Black, their deputy of rapid response director, which, as me and Crash were talking last night on Southside Mutts, this guy watched too many military movies, and they talk exclusively how they sent in operatives to bully women at Trump rallies. The DNC hired people to go in and bully females, the ones that they say they stand up for and are there to represent. They paid people to go in and to fuck with these women, to push them around, probably mentally and physically, but they're the ones that are there to protect you.
That also leads into another wonderful thing. Thank you for that setup, Jersey Joe. I frequently find a lot of my sources, my source material, not in the United States, but across the pond in the UK by way of UK media. Specifically, I go to the UK Daily Mail and the UK Telegraph quite a bit. And if you go to the UK Daily Mail, you'll also discover that they have video, and I haven't seen any of this displayed in America yet by way of our loving American media maggots, about a Clinton operative taking pepper spray and pepper spraying people in the midst of a Trump gathering, and the pepper spray that the people that are getting sprayed by that particular individual, and there's video and photos of it all across this article, are women and small children that this person pepper sprays in the face. There's a little girl that you watch being pepper sprayed by this person on behalf of Clinton. It's insanity writ large. I could never have come up with this stuff. So the exact same people that are accusing Trump of being violent are the persons that are infinitely and more geometrically violent than any of the people who are at Trump gatherings.
It's just the Democrat Party showing their true colors is what it is.
Yes, exactly. And, it should be no wonder that Julian Assange is releasing. It's like you couldn't see this coming, Hillary Clinton, after Clinton first decided back upon the original WikiLeaks that she'd like to send a drone over to Julian Assange before he got ensconced up in the Ecuadorian embassy in downtown London because he was attempting to escape arrest. That she wanted a drone strike conducted on Julian Assange. Well, let me ask you, Jersey Joe, if the American government decided that it wanted to drone strike you and you had the ability to hit back just a bit in the guise of perhaps some emails and some hacking, I bet you might actually consider that too, since the United States government just essentially threatened your life.
Exactly. Well, what I find amazing about that, and it goes back to my double standard, is she blows it off as a joke, and everybody's supposed to drop it. Trump talks about the Second Amendment people will rise up and vote against her, and that is an assassination attempt on her life. Trump says some of the most innocent things, and they twist it as an assassination attempt. But when she goes outright calls for droning an assassination of a human being, and it's a joke. Relax. Stop. You're blowing it out of proportion.
Well, yes. And last time I checked, Julian Assange was not an enemy combatant.
Yeah. Well,
he was a citizen.
Real quick, because I keep forgetting to make this point, and it may be a little bit off on it, but when you look at, they keep talking about foreign entities, foreign government, foreign people interfering with our election. Well, that's a twofold thing. Number one, every time I've gotten in an argument on Twitter or Facebook with a Hillary supporter, as soon as I look at their profile, they're from Australia, they're from the UK, they're from Canada. So wait a minute, they're bitching. They themselves are bitching about foreign entities involving themselves and trying to change our election, as they are foreign entities trying to change our elections. And then they try to justify, well, whatever happened in America affects our country. Okay, then you're justifying other foreign entities interfering then too. No, that's different. How the hell is that different?
Well, the next time you talk to an Australian, I just happen to like this accent, by the way. The next time you talk to an Australian, ask them why their country is full of governmental pussies. I'm sorry to have to say the P word, but that's this. What did Australia do? And what did the citizens, the invertebrate citizens of Australia do when the government said, turn in your guns? They turned in their guns.
But Hillary doesn't want a gun ban.
What happened as the result of that? Oh, that's right. Violent crime, in fact, went up.
Same in England.
So the next time an Aussie decides to come to you and say something negative or deleterious about the United States, you might slam back at them, well, I love your government and how all of your citizens are pussy-whipped. Allegedly, you Australians came from the UK and decided that you were going to carve out a new nation because you were UK prisoners and wanted to be free. Gosh, Aussie, how much freedom do you have now?
Yeah, it's... And I kind of laughed when you said pussy, and you're like, oh, it's getting to the point where the only way we're going to have conversation is, well, the B to the C to the T and the B-A-D. I mean, we can't even say words anymore. I didn't know pussy was such a bad word and so offensive until just recently. I know can't understand normal thinking, see you next Tuesday, whichever analogy I want to give to it, or whichever it is. You can't say anything. And I'm tired of it. On this show, you can say whatever the hell you want. I don't give a shit. Never apologize, because you know what? I'm tired of it, because it changes day to day what you could say, who could say what context you put it in. You almost need a instruction manual of how to talk in America anymore.
Well, or how to figure out what the hell kind of pronoun should be applied to the individual when you address them and you never met them before. It is, in fact, insanity, sort of writ large, if you will. It really doesn't make much sense anymore.
And it's actually attacking. It's the snake eating itself right now, because everything they've been pushing on the Democrat side is coming back to bite them in the ass. They push for, gay, that they were the party for the gays and everything. They're a party of tolerance. They're the party of choice. Well, what choice do you have in their party? You have no choice. What are they tolerant of? Nothing.
I'm going to have to toddle off here in just a moment, but I'd like to make one final point, because as you were talking, you tickled my little brainulus and made me think of one final thing. Ladies and gentlemen, just as Jersey Joe was saying, he has the freedom right now to make any kind of a comment that he wants on his show. He owns his show. It belongs to him and no one else. So he, in America at this point, gets to say what he wants when he's motivated to say it. And how does he say it? How is he saying this, ladies and gentlemen? Think. Put on your thinking caps for just a moment. You're listening to him either live right now on the internet, or you're listening to him in a podcast. And the common ground of that is you're listening to him over the Internet. Let me bring up a few points. Terrestrial radio is starting to migrate from that particular venue more and more over to the Internet. And I can't think of any syndicated program right now on AM radio in terms of any talk show. Music, that's something entirely different. That's already migrated over to MP3 formats, et cetera, and the Internet for that matter. But the Internet is becoming more and more important, increasingly important in our daily lives. Go back to ICANN. Go back to the attempt by the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, and the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, and they're wanting to stop certain things from occurring on the Internet. Ladies and gentlemen, the last true bastion of American freedom is on the Internet, to the point where terrestrial radio recognizes its importance, and they too are beginning to migrate over. Things like Sirius XM and whatnot. They're competing and challenging over the airwaves terrestrial radio. But what is the one thing about the Internet that is so uncommon? I would suggest that the Internet is uncommon because it equalizes everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, for whatever amount of dollars that you have, you can display a website with the precision, beauty, appeal, and informational importance of you as an individual as opposed to a massive corporation like General Motors. General Motors, which wants to sell you billions of dollars worth of automobiles, you can have a website just as beautiful as theirs. I say that's leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
If you want to have a website that has your radio show on it, Jersey Joe, you can have a website every bit as efficacious and wonderful and appealing as any terrestrial radio show right now. I say that's leveling the playing field. But beware, ladies and gentlemen. If you like Jersey Joe and his ability to say what he wants to say, because Freedom, for example, just north of us in Canada, is on its way out, freedom of speech. Ask Mark Stein about that. Google Mark Stein and Freedom of Speech Canada and see what it is that you get as a result. He was sued by the entire nation. The entire government of Canada came down like a stack of bricks on Mark Stein for saying basically the most inoffensive thing about Islam. Well, if you like Jersey Joe, you better support his ass, because the federal government is in the process of attempting to control the Internet. First, we made it a giveaway. So the one time when we actually had true strength in America and we didn't screw with ICANN, one of the few things that the federal government did by basically not getting involved but having sort of an overarching control of it, recently, due to Mr. Obama, we gave away. So now we have the importance in terms of input into ICANN as, say, North Korea or Russia or China. Those happen to be, oddly enough, regimes when there's some sort of a coup that occurs or people want to tell the truth at those nations. Their Internet gets stomped on. Well, let's look at Julian Assange, for example, in the Ecuadorian embassy. And that Ecuadorian embassy, where he's been for the past 4 years, is within the city of London in the UK. Recently, Julian Assange's Internet and his access to the Internet was cut off in the UK. What occurred? What occurred is this. John Kerry rings the telephone to Ecuador and says, could you do us a bleeding little favor? How about you cut off that internet access to Julian Assange because it's kind of pissing us off.
Oh, I heard
He's
there was
telling
some
the
money
truth
transferred
about Hillary Clinton, so we need to cut off the internet. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, right now there are people in D.C. sharpening their knives, ready and willing to cut off your internet access for the good of the order.
Yep. But I've
last
also
bastion
read
of freedom is this man that you're listening to right here. Right now, he has the potential import every bit as much as any other terrestrial radio show or talk show host. He's not going to them. They're going to him. So the venue on which he gets to broadcast and say whatever he will is through the Internet. The Internet is the last true global area of freedom of expression. And trust me,
that's dying.
Not just the American government, but almost every government wants to censor what you say, what you think, and what you hear. We are being challenged in terms of our freedoms daily. We are no longer the most free nation on the planet. You can find that out by looking at a search engine. That's easily accessible. So if that doesn't frighten you, ladies and gentlemen, it very well should. So when Jersey Joe talks about the ability of himself to speak and say what he wants, it's because he can get on the air, literally, with some pieces of equipment and the will to say what he wants and to gather his thoughts together in a cogent fashion, and he can speak to you, and no one is screwing with him and trying to hinder his freedom of speech. And I'm gonna end with a one-word, very important aspect. No one is attempting to censor his freedom of speech yet.
Yeah, yet. And we know that's coming.
But don't think it isn't coming, because leftists and progressives and Democrats are lining up the sites on the Internet. Don't delude yourself to think that that's not next. It's coming.
Yep. On that, I actually have to take a break. Get ready for the last segment of the show. So, how do we find you?
If you're inclined to be on Twitter, I am at BZEP, BZEP. And if you're inclined to go to the website, which I own and Google does not own my website, it's at bloviatingzeppelin.net.
All right. And, anytime you want, all you have to do is you got the number, call in anytime. And I enjoy having you on. You had a different aspect to the show, and it's a good aspect. And with that, I do have to go to break and get ready for the last segment, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jersey Joe. Please, ladies and gentlemen, continue to listen to him and support him. Support his freedom of speech. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising, Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover's here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to reaver.one/shop. It is utterly amazing. Everything going on right now. The Democrat Party is showing its true colors right now with everything. And this video, I talked about it briefly with BZ on the line. for some reason with my setup, if I played it, he couldn't hear it, so I didn't want to waste his time on it. I wanted him to talk about what he wanted to. So we're actually going to play that now. I've got it queued up. Hold on.
So I'm basically Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DN.
And let's back it up because you can't see it. It starts out with, during our first video in this investigation, we introduce you to Aaron Black, and that's who it goes to right away from the start, to Aaron Black.
So I'm basically Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DNC for all things Trump on the ground.
Then it goes to, he bragged about his involvement in the Chicago Trump protest that turned violent in March. That's a funny, these people bragged about it, and there was cops that were injured. There was one guy that got shot and killed who was a Trump supporter. It was a black gentleman, got shot and killed by several of these protesters. And they're sitting there bragging about they were part of that. And that just popped in my head. Unfortunately, I forgot that guy had got shot and killed. Well, maybe these people that are bragging about it, Mr. Aaron Black and Mrs. Rodriguez, I can't remember her first name, who brag about that, ought to be charged with the murder of that gentleman. They were directly responsible and caused that to happen. Huh. It just popped in my head about that. I forgot. They should be charged.
So the Chicago protest, when they shut all that was us. It was more him than me, but none of this is supposed to come back to us because we want it coming from people. We don't want it to come from the party.
So it comes up. So what did Black have prepared next?
I don't know. I mean, I know things that like make big impacts. I think of like that, like I think it was like a woman, older woman, who was like attacked at a Trump rally. Like things like that really show what kind of people.
Hey, Lauren. So we get people behind Trump when he's at a rally, but we make sure it's women and they're positioned next to men. We want images of the men bullying the women who are trying to hold their signs up. That's what I'm going to do. That is what we're going to do. That is the hit.
How do you think you're going to do it?
They're going to have to show up 7 hours ahead of time and wait in line to get there early.
So, like, pretend to be Trump supporters so they get sat behind
Yep.
them?
Then fold up those signs that we have and put them in their pockets. That is the hit.
They think it's funny. It's checking some information out. Yeah, a black Trump supporter was shot and killed. And these guys should be charged with that murder since they are so proud of the protest and the violence that they started. They should be charged with that guy's murder. They are directly responsible. They caused that environment. They caused those cops to be injured. The DNC should be charged. Hillary Clinton's campaign should be charged. They were all part of this. Drives me up a wall. that they're so nonchalant. Hang on one second. Writing myself a note so that after the show, I'm going to tweet that out. And, that Aaron Black and Mrs. Rodriguez, I think it's Rodriguez, should be charged with murder. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's... So Snoops is saying it's not true that someone got shot and killed. It's... They sit here and they're proud that they're going to bully women. They're proud that they caused all this violence. They're proud that they are subverting the election, American election. And they talk about foreign involvement, but then they ignore that they were rigging an election. And then you have Obama going out there, just stop whining. There's no rigging. Your own operatives, your own people who there is money directly linked to the DNC, the Clinton Foundation, and all these super PACs. It's mind-numbing. Absolutely mind-numbing. And I was at my dad's when my dad's like, why is Obama up there, yammering about, stop whining about the rigged election? And then when I got home and when I found all the Veritas's undercover work, it clicked in my head. And it was like 30 minutes before it got released. Somehow they knew about it. So that's why Obama went out there and tried to squash it before it started, but it's not going to. You even have Anderson Cooper has been showing the video and talking about it. Donald Trump promises to accept election results if he wins. I love how he's turning around. And what's funny is they don't have anything to bitch at. They have nothing to complain about. So they're making an issue because he would not promise. He would not say, yes, I'll accept the election results. Well, he's going to take a look at it and see if there's any underhanded, any illegal, any corruption, any fraud going on. And if there doesn't appear to be any major issues, then he would accept it. But he's not just going to blindly. What's wrong with him saying that? There's nothing wrong with that. There's proof that the DNC has been rigging these elections. But so many people want to turn a blind eye. The Democrats aren't even denying this video. They aren't even denying the rigging. That's what's funny. They're not denying. Well, they're trying to, but when you point out specific ones, they never deny what is said in those WikiLeaks. Overall, they try to cast a doubt, but when you come and confront them about a specific email, they deflect and divert the conversation. When Hillary was asked if she would condemn the Middle East and the money that she took, she ignored but again, they're trying to make an issue out of nothing. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Hillary just ignores that she's taking money. In fact, as we talked earlier, she laughed when Trump brought up about gays are they're not just prosecuted, they're thrown off of roofs. It's disgusting. And the one I wish Trump would have turned around. Hey, Cal, I wish he would have turned around. And I know there's so many people. He should have done this. No, when you're in that moment, you can't think of everything at any moment. But the one thing is, when she went on about guns and it's saving a toddler, saving one kid, saving a toddler, that's what they always say. But then in the same breath, she talked about killing babies that are born alive through what they call abortion. They're not trying to save any of those kids. In fact, they're pushing for children to be murdered. And we're not talking abortion overall. We're talking about these late term, they're born alive, and then they're killed once they're out of the womb. Don't sit there and tell me you're worried about the one child, because if you were so worried about one child, it's absolutely disgusting how they ignore certain facts. I've talked about it openly. I am not against all abortions. There is no black and white in this world. Not everything is perfect. There is sometimes issues that could arise. But what they are pushing for, and then they talk about how it's a woman's body, it's her right, no one should tell, but yet you have Obamacare that's forcing a lot of stuff on people and telling them what to do with their bodies. Me as a male, I cannot get snipped. I can't get deballed. I can't get neutered. I can't get a vasectomy without my wife's permission. So I need a female to tell me what can be done to my body. Now, when you bring that up to these feminazis, they laugh. They think it's funny. But in the same breath, literally same breath, they'll talk about how you have no right to tell them about their body with abortion. But they can tell you whether you get your balls snipped or clipped. I don't find it funny. And I find it very offensive that they tell me what to do with my body. It's the double standard of the left. It's the hypocrisy of the left. And it's absolutely appalling. What's scary is I didn't even get into the fact-checking of the debate last night. Damn. I'm not complaining. It's like, holy shnikes. I didn't get anything in about fact-checking on what was said. And there was a lot of fact-checking because there was a lot of lies, especially from Hillary. Yeah, they need about 2 or 3 dozen people just to fact-check her when she's saying hi to you. And grab your wallet, too. If she's around you, grab your wallet and make sure you hold on to it because she'll try stealing that. It's... If she gets elected, to put it bluntly, we are fucked as a country. We will no longer be a country. She lied about her open borders. She lied about the reason for her comment about open borders. It had nothing to do with green energy or whatever the hell she was babbling about. It didn't even make sense, her excuse. I was talking about open borders with energy. That is the dumbest, idiotic excuse. They can't even come up with good excuses because they've become so lazy in their comments anymore. At least when they followed rules for radical 100%, they made sure that they were doing above and beyond and doing better than what their counterparts. Now they're doing half-ass and just outright lying, and anybody that's buying this needs to have their head checked to see if they have any common sense. Because common sense tells you she was not talking about open borders for energy. Jesus Christ, that's the dumbest. I don't even know how she said it. Well, she doesn't say anything with a straight face. She's got that Batman Joker face. As I said earlier, reminds me, and I'm not commenting on her look, she has that shit-eating grin she does that looks like the Joker, a Jack Nicholson character from Batman. So, with that, it's that time again. I'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising, YouTube, Speaker, and iTunes. I want to say thank you and have a great day. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.